Welcome to SuperLife with me, Darin, a podcast where we explore, discover, and share solutions that promote a healthier life and a better world. Together, we'll ignite possibilities, inspire change, and build sovereignty, creating a roadmap towards a super life for you and for all. Get ready to start living your super life. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to SuperLife. Exercise is the key player in building a super life and increasing longevity. It's extremely hard to live your happiest, healthiest, strongest life and highly functional if your body is not strong, if it's not operating optimally. If it's not healthy, then you know what you're focused on. You're focused on building your health. So that's why in this episode of SuperLife, I'm going to dive you into exercise protocol that you can follow to easily increase your longevity. I'll answer some of those questions about what is best from cardiovascular to strength, what kind of movements, et cetera, et cetera. And this is, what should we do? Should we skip cardio? Should we do cardio? And what's the intensity and all of this stuff? And it's been thrown around so long and it's confusing and there's stressors. And if you don't understand the level of stress that you're under and then you put yourself under more stress, then maybe that is more counterproductive based on what kind of exercise you're doing. So we need to understand this. And at the end of the day, I hope that these conclusions are quite simple as I kind of dig into this a little bit. I don't want to make this too overwhelming so that you kind of miss the point. But, let's just dive in, right? So what type of exercises are best for, of course, now and our longevity? And of course, muscle mass is wildly important for your longevity. That's the engine, that's the levers, that's what's allowing you to move and function. And understanding that and investing into that muscle, and you too, women, you need to move, you need to maximize that muscle, but you need to do it from a understanding that you don't want to stress yourself out necessarily if you're under stress and other levels. But you need to also engage and activate your strength, your big muscles, your hamstrings, your glutes, your thighs, your chest, your back. We need to put that under stress acutely so that you gain and garner the benefits. Okay, so what type of exercise is best for longevity? And all of this, again, is from research, not just my opinion. My opinion I'll throw in every so often, but this is from research, and the research is available in the show notes. So, of course, cardiovascular health, everyone knows that, or maybe you don't know. And I blew that off a lot in my life, but I kind of always had a good cardiovascular strength because I came from, I guess I did explosive movements while in sports, but, as well as just being an athlete all my life, just doing cardio for cardio's sake, I never really I was doing it out of fun. I was a triathlete for a while. But really I cycled. I was on a long road bikes as a young kid, like from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, like those times. And I transitioned from BMX into long distance stuff. So I always loved it. But then when I got into strength training, building up my muscle, I doubled down on that. So cardiovascular health is things like walking, running, swimming, cycling. Like, that's it. Like, one thing I've been really stoked on is jump rope. I do jump rope from 20 to 30 minutes. And sometimes I count, or I just have it on a timer and I count up to 1,000 and see how fast I can do 1,000 skips and 1,000 jumps. And that is like, and I'll get into level 2 cardio, right? So we'll get into what that means. And it's very kind of simple and easy way to understand and get into that burning zone that is not causing you more and more stress. So cardiovascular, of course, it enhances blood circulation, blood flow, strengthens the cardiovascular system, and obviously deep, controlled, conscious breathing is also that side benefit of it. Muscle strength, obviously strength training, weightlifting, resistance bands, moving your body through space, proprioceptive, obviously pull-ups, dips. I'll get into more of the exercises later, and then I also want to throw into it flexibility and balance. These things are important. So when you're doing exercises, you can challenge yourself by doing maybe a bicep curl, just using it as a silly example, on one foot. So you're having to work all those stabilizers. These are cute little things that you can do to just extra challenges of proprioception, because over time, we lack that functionality, and I'll get more into functional training as well. And then, of course, the physical side of our strength comes hugely releasing endorphins and other brain-derived chemicals that are improving our overall well-being, our health, the sense of accomplishment, and those kind of things. The science shows that this lowers depression and anxiety, period. If this is a pill, it is the greatest pill possible. Exercise, strength training, movement is the greatest longevity thing you can do, period. So let's just straight up say that. If you're not moving every day in some form, even when you're resting, it's stretch and breathe and go for a walk. Like, come on. Like that's as simple as it gets. If you're sitting a long time, jump up, do some squats. It also doesn't have to be conventional, right? So it can be periods of time when you have time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes here, another 5 minutes there, whatever that is. I want you to keep that in mind as I go through this stuff. And yes, there's tons of studies to back all of that up. And again, all of that is in the show notes. So optimizing longevity through exercise is really through strength training. That is, I believe, number one. And then zone 1, 2 aerobic light activity, I think, is number 2. And then within all of that, functional movements within all of those. So that's kind of like the glue. So do these things as a way of challenging yourself to know that when life happens, you have more mental strength, but you have more physical strength to deal with it. And also to translate into a sport that you love. If it's surfing, if it's mountain biking, if it's hiking, if it's downhill skiing, whatever that is, whatever you love and you push off to a later date of a vacation, think of this as a way of maintaining your youth, your vitality, your strength, so that you can do whatever the hell you want. Because you want options in life. You want options to be able to respond to life. That's what all of this, I believe, is for. And of course, it just feels good to be strong. It's not easy always, obviously, to just work out. You got to motivate yourself, but within minutes, you are feeling better, right? So strength training, some basic exercises are things like squats, deadlifts, bench press, rows for the back or pull-ups, overhead presses. So don't make this complicated. So if I were to make an exercise, like a HIIT workout, right? So high intensity interval train, right? So you could go, I can hit 25 squats. I go to deadlifts, lightweight, touch the dumbbells to the floor and just squat and stand all the way up. And you can do stiff-legged deadlifts. Those are great too. This engages the posterior chain. These are the hamstrings, the erectors, the stabilizers of the upper back. All of these things are fantastic. And then like a bench press. So it's really like easy push-up, push-ups. If you have starting somewhere, get on your knees. Like, just go and build this over time. And then back, right? Back and chest are this synergistic, from push and a pull in our upper body. Same things with the synergistic. Our quads are extensions, and our hamstrings are the curls. These kinds of things. Think of this as you're kind of moving every day. So if for example, you want to work out 3 days a week, do the full body. And you can do it squats, deadlifts, or just deadlifts from the floor. No problem. Don't worry about stiff-legged deadlifts. Squats, deadlifts, push-ups, pull-ups if you can. If you can't do pull-ups, get a bungee cord, wrap it around a tree, and do rows, do pull-downs. And this is if you don't have a gym, right? And then shoulders. You can do presses. Just press it over your head. Start nice and light. And as you get stronger, then you can add to it. And then you can do, if you want, do biceps, do bis and tris. That's a simple, easy program. I just wanted to state that right up front, in that this doesn't have to be complicated at all. You just need to move, and you need to move consistently. Okay? So let's get into that. Frequency. Research suggests that well-rounded strength training should include exercises targeting all of the major muscle groups. If you just did squats, pull-ups, and push-ups, for example, or assisted pull-ups, or whatever it is, you're hitting virtually all major muscle groups through those movement patterns. And you want to perform, maybe 3 to 4 rounds of that at 8 to 12 reps. So you have a circuit of 3 or 4 rounds, and you have reps between, 8 to 12. And then you want to start finding your push point, where you're finding that I can't push any further. And that instigates the strength. Keep that in mind, especially women. Don't be afraid of pushing that. You're not going to get bulky. Not in this way. It's so hard to put on that amount of muscle. You need to keep your muscle, and you need to get stronger, period. So frequency, 2 to 3 times per week shows to be a fantastic zone. 45 to 60 minutes. Now that's based, for me, I go into the duration of it. Depends on the intensity. I sometimes work out for 20 minutes, full on, full steam with my guys. We make up a circuit and we just hit that hard. And then the reps and the sets, 2 to 4 sets, 8 to 12 reps. Okay. Study found that this regimen not only builds muscle and strength, but also supports the metabolic health and longevity. Okay, so this is based on what I just kind of ran through, is general, and it's based on results in studies. Okay, so super simple, don't have to make it complex. Okay, so moving into the best aerobic activities. So now this is interesting. So I looked in the research and it said running, cycling, swimming, and brisk walking. Now, yeah, I agree with that. How hard you do it, how often, obviously. But swimming is one of the best overall, but it's not in gravity. So you just keep that in mind. So it's overall cardiovascular because it's using so much of the muscle mass when you're doing it. So it's so easy to get winded and things like that. So if you can't swim, if you can't cycle, if you can't run, walk, right? So here's the thing. Running, cycling, swimming, walking, super easy, but you want to do it in zone 2 because the research shows that zone 2 of cardiovascular training seems to be the best overall bang for your buck. Now I'm going to put this in the show notes as well. So defining zone 2, but it's going through zone 1 is a very light, so 50 to 60% of your max heart rate. So if your max heart rate is you're running up a hill and you're fully maxed out and your heart rate's at 180 beats per minute, then obviously 50% of that is very easy walk. So that's zone 1. Zone 2, however, is 60 to 70% of your max heart rate. Now, I'll just give you the hack right now, and that is zone 2 is that you can still hold a conversation without losing your breath. Okay? So still hold a conversation without holding your breath, but it's harder than just a stroll like in zone 1, right? And zone 3 is moderate, so now you're starting to lose your breath. Zone 4 is hard. Zone 5 is full anaerobic blast. I am maxed out and going to lose my brain. So specific targets, 60 to 70% your max heart rate is zone 2. The intensity level is often referred to as aerobic base. This is, I think Peter Attia talked about this. It's like a pyramid. It's zone 2 is literally the base. It's the biggest portion of your aerobic capacity, will give you the most bang. So most of my life when I was doing cardio, I would only think I was doing cardio when I was in like zone 3 and 4. And then occasionally flying up a mountain or something in zone 5. I thought that was building my cardio. In truth, backing off and doing it consistently over time in zone 2, which is a lot more, takes time because you have to put the time in, but you get the most benefit from that, which is why we're having this podcast right now, to get the most benefit, enhancing efficiency of the cardiovascular system, increasing your true ability to deliver oxygen to the muscles and improve endurance. Also, it improves fat metabolism, and the body predominantly uses fat as fuel when you're switching into true aerobic work. So if you're too intense, you're flipping into anaerobic threshold where you're having to steal glycogen and you're no longer in your fat stores, right? So super important in zone 2, super beneficial for fat metabolism. Also, mitochondria density is stronger in the zone 2, increases the number of efficiency of the mitochondria in the muscle cells, boosting overall aerobic energy production. And also, it's a lower risk. Obviously, zone 1 and zone 2, it's the lowest risk. You're not maybe going as fast. You're not flying out of control. So super easy, but you have to commit to it. The duration is usually from 45 minutes to 2 hours. Now, that may feel like a lot, but you only want to do 2 of those sessions per week. That's it. So 2 sessions a week, even if it's 30 minutes, don't bust your balls about it, right? So aim for 2 to 3 sessions in zone 2 per week. And depending on your training goals, obviously you can do that. Now listen, I weight train more than what this is, and I've known my body for a long time. So I weight train 5 days a week, and then I also sometimes double it up and I'll do a light cardio later in the day, and I'll do my jump rope, or I'll go for a walk with the dogs. So I just wanted to explore that zone 2 so you can understand. So also another interesting thing, the American Heart Association recommends 150 minutes of moderate intense aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous. So this is like old data. So there's, this, even from the American Heart Association, they're telling you to go harder. But in truth, you can back it off. Now, listen, it's fun to go hard. So I'm not saying don't do it. Even within your 45 minutes, your hour that you're in your cardio, fly up that mountain and then pull your recovery back. Now, a whole nother twist is try to do level 2 all with nose breathing, and you should be able to do that. And that's going to increase your ability to receive even more oxygen and improve your overall respiration using your nose only, right? And if you're pushing it in the nose, out the mouth, in the nose, out the mouth, In zone 2, you should go nose only, in the nose, out the nose. Okay, so those are some just little hints. And then just adding in, as you're getting stronger, more functional moves, right? So lunges, instead of just straight up squats, you can do lunges. You can do variety on the push-ups, and then you can flirt with going to failure. You can do drop sets, meaning you start with a heavier weight, you go to failure, you drop down, you cut it in half, and then you keep going to failure. You can do these kinds of things. And planks, throw in some ab stuff, but a plank is such a functional way because it's full body. You're laid out and you're just holding. So you're on your elbows and then you're on your toes and you're just holding that plank with your butt down and just holding that and breathing that, keeping your head and your chin neutral. So these things are fantastic. Obviously, this is not visual, so I'm just telling you through this stuff, but the combination of strength training and this zone 2 aerobic training and some of these functional movements, this is going to keep you busy 5 to 6 days a week, right? So you want to plan. And what I do with exercise is I do pretty much the same time every freaking day. My body gets used to it. There's some great research around that. I do it in the morning. I do it virtually on an empty stomach. I haven't eaten, but I've drank my water. I had some elixir, some cacao or something. I've just done it that way. But ultimately, it's pretty simple, man. It's pretty simple. So if you want, and those of you who, who are already consistent, what you want to do is start to practice throwing variety in. The cool thing about what I've learned over the years and working out with, and find a community of people that want to do it with you every day, because showing up and having accountability for others is great. I used to work out a lot after team sports. I used to work out with some people, but then huge periods of my time I'd work out alone. And then for a long time, I got connected with, guys that all had the same kind of mentality. They wanted to kick some ass and keep going. And we've been working out together for a better part of 15 years. And the cool thing is the variety. So we get together, we kind of feel it out, and then we just make it up as we go. We set up a Tabata or something, and how long we're going to go for each rep, and then can determine. And we'll change all of that up all the time. There is nothing so crazy unless you're training for something that you have to think about this too much. At the end of the day, some of my great intense workouts are in the hotel room when I have nothing. Like I maybe forgot my bungee cords and I wrap a towel on the bathroom door and shut the door, and then I'm pulling up from a towel hanging off the door like I'm doing rows, I'm doing push-ups, I'm doing lunges off the bed, and I do circuits or burpees and plyos and all of that stuff. And then boom, I'm done. Check. I've initiated myself. I feel better. I'm ready for the day. I remember when we were shooting Down to Earth, we were all working out, the crew and Zach and Dylan and all of us. And I would make sure that I was up a couple, at least 3 hours before we needed to be shooting. And I'd be doing my meditations. I'd be doing my journals. And then if there was a gym, we'd have a gym. If not, I would do it in the thing. I don't let anything stop me from moving, not a chance. So, again, keep in mind that if you are under stress, and you push yourself too hard, you can, if you're beating yourself up, that's why this cardio thing is really important. If you're beating yourself up on a cortisol-inducing cardio all the time, this may go against you, okay? This may keep you from getting the gains. And make sure you're recovering. Make sure you're eating well. All of this stuff works together, okay? Throw in a little creatine. Creatine is one of the most studied supplements on the planet. It was my first supplement I started selling in probably 97, right? So 96, 97. And I've been using it ever since, and it's solid research. So that's it for now. I hope that makes sense. At the end of the day, move. You can do this. Go for a walk. And sometimes I'll go for a walk and walk backwards up a hill. I'll do lunges. I'll do squats when I'm walking the property or the dogs or whatever. I'll switch it up. Okay? So I want you to move. It's something I don't talk about much because it's so integrated in my life. I talk about it less and less, and it's the most consistent thing I do. I do a lot of consistent things, but exercise since I was 16 years old. I have never stopped. I will never stop, and it is the medicine of a super life. Without a doubt, it's the medicine for a super life. You want to kick some ass and live a life that you only have in your dreams, you got to keep moving and you got to keep your muscle. And people say all the time, you're plant-based. Yeah, I have fucking muscle still. Sorry for the language. So I still have muscle and I'm still strong as hell. And I only eat plants, just so you know. So anyway, love you all.